Hi, Sajana here, giving my after preaching background tips video. Today I was able to preach in the Lord's Church Waco for the Young Adult Ministry service there in Waco, Texas. Um, Today is November the 9th, 2025, and the sermon text was from several different passages in the Psalms that all talked about waiting on God. And so the sermon was basically about fleshing that out. What does that actually mean? What does it look like? Why do you need this? Why are we talking about this? That's what the sermon was about. Basically, if you are a doing person like I am, and I basically share with you what I've realized recently, which is um, there needs to be a shift in all of my doing. It needs to come from spending that time with God first, and I know we talk about that sort of, but I talk about that a little more. I think it deserves a little more attention and focus. And so that's what this sermon was about. So if you find yourself a person that is overworked because you just are juggling a multitude of things, why? Because they all need to be done and you have the skills to do it and all of these things. But and you come to a point where you recognize that this ain't the way. So that's basically what I was proposing to these young adults who are at the start of their adult lives. And I wanted to give them maybe some wisdom that perhaps they're already doing, or perhaps they may be able to lean more into because somebody shared with them, hey, you need to do this. Do it from this way. Do it from this posture. So I don't know if anybody heard me. Did someone preach this sermon when I was a young adult and I just missed it? I don't know, but I tried today. I tried. May the Lord do what the Lord will do with my offering today. And so, preacher, as you preach from your life experiences and share a word with the people in what you think would be helpful for them, and lessons that you've learned, and imparting the wisdom that you've gleaned. Just know that if it's done with that intention, and I believe that's what God had for me to share today. And so uh, I just pray that the Lord would bless it. I was one part of the service. Also, in our particular service, we had a young adult led praise and worship team. The adult leader, this is the first time I've seen it, was not in the team, and that is amazing to me because I and actually he commented about this afterwards, just acknowledging the fact that it was me and it's when we had a conversation about that, where I asked, hey, have you ever thought about you not being in it, and just like giving them an opportunity to work on their leadership and just grow in that area without you. And he actually thought about it and implemented it. And they've apparently been, because I haven't been there for 2 weeks, so they've been leading now. This is the third week, I think. And wow, I mean, so that encourages me that, and that's actually the kind of leader that I'd like to be, is more collaborative leader that can share thoughts and ideas, and we listen with one another and with God to present the best offering that we can together. And so I appreciated hearing that and seeing that and knowing that I was a small part of that. It's just wow. So if there's something to share, just like be you, as you go into the different opportunities that you're given. I'm a person that likes to ask questions, likes to wonder about doing things maybe a little differently, because we want to actually prepare people for the future. And we want to actually move out of the way so that others can grow too. And that's what I've been doing in my opportunities. And is there space for you to do that as well in how you lead and how you preach? Can you invite these wanderings to your people, to your church, to your congregation, to your family, to your friends? Yeah, I'm even wondering now. I mean, I know I did that and I do that typically, but could I be opening up more? Are there areas where I can invite others to lean into things and grow? And actually, a couple of things are coming to mind. And to be honest with you, it's going to require some work. And do I really want to do that? Well, first thing I can do is just lift up the ask, and we can wonder about it together with God. Nobody says that anybody has to do anything yet. We can just sit with it together. And so, yeah, so I think that's okay to do. Yeah, so preacher, if you have things that are coming to mind for you that you feel like God might be inviting you to, you don't have to solve it all. Maybe all you have to do is take one more step forward with God, or even sitting with God is a step. Just sitting with God in it, not doing anything yet, just being with God in it. And as you're together, may God's wisdom emerge and just be apparent. I've noticed that happening when I take that time to do that. And it's not always gonna happen. It's just, but the grace of God does allow that at times, and it's good. Because I need all the help I can get. Not doing, just being with God, just pausing and waiting with God is so hard for me. And I think that is my work to do. That is what I am to do. And I want to do these things because I feel like the invitation is so clear for me right now at this season of my life. I've done it my way, and I've done all the things, literally all the things. Now, what I want to do with this time that I have left on earth is I want to do the things that God wants me to do. And I only want to do it with God. So, I know I didn't say those words. I meant to, but it didn't come out my mouth. But that is my hope. God has been good to me, and I'm grateful that God has used me, even though I didn't lead from a posture of first being with God in that way that I feel like I'm invited to now in this season. And I want to change that. And I'm going to need all the help I can get. So my prayer is that not only I, but you too, that we would be a people who first go to God, first are with God, waiting with God, being with God, and then emerging out of that when it's time and in God's doing, empowered by the Lord, like things will come out of that and emerge, and they will be good and right and holy and for that time. That's how I want to lead and be, from a posture of that, from a posture of the Lord. So that is my sermon again in a nutshell, and my offering to you today in this after preaching sermon tips video. But feel free to check out the sermon. It will be posted. I'm actually a little backlog because of all of my travel, but I'll be posting the last sermon I did 2-3 weeks ago there, and then this sermon I posted in hopes that people might find it when it's their time to do so, and they might get something from it. That's why I make these videos, for the same reason. May it bless somebody out there to know that we do this work with the Lord and together. You know, nobody's out here doing it on their own. And if they are, I'm not sure that's the way. And I don't want it to be my way. All right, so if you have feedback for me, or ways that you'd like to collaborate, or just sit with in the future, I'd love to have you join me. I'm going to put a couple of ways that I do the waiting with God recently. I'm going to put that at the bottom of the blog of this sermon. And then if you have other ways to share, I'd love to hear it, because I'm still trying to figure this out, and with who I am, my makeup, you know, my tendency to want to move and like be involved, and just want to know, like, what is the best way for me to engage with the Lord, because it's also got to fit the person. You know, God knows how he wired me and how he wired you, so I can't give you the recipe that works for me, because I'm still figuring that out. And what works for me is not necessarily going to work for you. You know, we have different taste buds in our mouth, on our tongue, right? We have different taste buds and preferences. And so, you know, I think it's the same with how we are with God too. There's so many ways to be with God. And so may God lead us to be courageous enough to try out these ways of being with God, and may they point us to true life with him. Okay. All right, y'all. Bye-bye.